Hello, good morning or good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us today on another session of We Connect Academy's Learning from Women Leaders Around the World. My name is Rachel Williams. I'm the Corporate Engagement Project Manager here at We Connect International, and I have the honor and pleasure today of introducing you all to Kathrin Puhan, who will lead you in an informative session today. She's a business curator, a moderator, and a trainer, and founder of You Advance, which she founded in 2009 and is based out of Zurich. Their portfolio covers business modeling, lean startup method, and pitch training. The topics are diverse and internationally applicable, such as business development and sales strategy for small and mid-sized companies, moderation and mentoring for gender equality, female entrepreneurship, and sustainable cities in Switzerland. I'll let Kathrin introduce herself, but I'd like to remind the attendees that you are muted throughout the duration of the program, but we would encourage you to ask questions when the opportunity arises throughout the webinar. If you could please write down your questions in the chat or the Q&A boxes, I will read them aloud when the question time comes up. This is a really awesome opportunity to learn as much as possible and gain some wisdom from Kathrin, so I encourage you to ask questions as much as possible. So thank you, Kathrin, for being with us today. I will turn it over to you and let you lead your presentation. Thank you again.
Perfect. Thank you, Rachel. Hello, everyone. So my name is Kathrin. I'm based in very nice Zurich, in Switzerland, Europe, so it's 3 o'clock in the evening, I say in the afternoon. And I'm looking forward to introduce you to how to invest in your ventures and how to find investors. So before we start and before we have a closer look at the structure, I just wanted quickly to show what I've done so far. So when I founded my company like now 10, 11 years ago, so I'm still working with the big corporations. As you see, I'm a certified female-owned businesses, and I'm coming from the strategy consulting. I've also been working for UBS and for Preseed, so from the banking. This is quite, I think because we are based in Switzerland, we have lots of banks here. And I moved into the startup scene and also acting as a business angel. I'm starting over 4 years ago now. So, and since I'm trying to empower and to encourage female-owned businesses, I would say over 15 years now, for the last 15 years, I really work with lots of female entrepreneurs and owners and females in advancing their career. I've seen there's a big difference between when it comes to investing in a venture founded by a man or by a woman. So that's why I would like to contribute on this subject, because I've seen a couple of things. And I'm focused on Switzerland, so I can't talk for other countries. Perhaps from my accent, you can hear I'm not native English, so I immigrated 25 years ago from Germany to Switzerland. So I also can share a little bit the insights I've seen in Germany. So Germany and Switzerland are more or less my focus. So that's why I have, for the following presentation, I try to generalize the terms and all of the approaches, but feel free to ask questions. Because what I would like to go through with you, I would like to show like the 3-step approach, how we find investors. And my proposition would be that after every step, I take questions so that we can digest and talk perhaps about it. And I'm happy to give an answer to your questions. So let's start with the first step. This is always like readiness, get ready with it. My big question always is when people, or mostly female entrepreneurs, are approaching me. So, Kathrin, do you know someone who would like to invest in my business or in my venture? I'm here, I would like to grow, and I have a new product idea, but I need money in order to develop and to launch the product, or even to go internationally. I was asked, so why are you looking for an investor? And then I get like different answers for that. Let's dive into this after having a look quickly at the two other steps, because after giving an answer why you are looking for an investor and for investments or for funds, you have to put a couple of elements together, and I call it the investor package. This is all the homework you have to do. And after that, the question is, how do you approach the investors? How do you approach pitching events in order to make yourself heard and in order to be able to pitch in front of potential investors? So let's start with step number one. And before we start with step number one, I think it is very important that for every business, because this is kind of a plan or a structure you see here in front of you, which is important to complete it. Because often I don't understand, or I don't get the business, or what is the business doing, because they are so diverse business, and every time when I see female-owned businesses in different areas, sometimes it's difficult really to understand what the business model is. And if you could complete this, and we call this a kind of a lean canvas beforehand for yourself, because this could lay the foundation and the basis for everything. Also, you could reuse it for the pitch deck and for the investor deck. Would be really nice to have an idea what it's all about. So I put a circle around a couple of things, such as a solution, what is the value proposition, and then also customers, which is super important, because at the end of the day, they are paying the salary, they are paying the product and the services we would like to sell. And what is really, really important is that you are aware of your cost structure and your revenue structure, because this will lead at the end of the day in the whole financials and the term sheets, where you should really know everything by heart. For me, this was always helpful, and perhaps also for you or for other people, to complete this and to be aware what is your business model and how do you sell money. Normally, when I don't have the possibility or the opportunity to have this in front of me, I just ask two questions. I was asked, okay, so how about the team? So tell me something about the team. And the second question is, tell me about how do you make money? So how about your business model? So what is the plan in order to make money and in order to pay your bills? Very important, and perhaps you feel it already. So since I'm a Swiss-German combination, and we love structure and we love to have a solid foundation, this helps really to kickstart everything. So highly recommend it. From there, from the question, so why are you looking for an investment or for an investor? I would highly recommend that you are in the position to think about at which stage you are. So, and here I have this little train, and then you think about, so because we have different funding phases, and you see here, just pick I think the first four most important, such as pre-seeding, seeding, Series A and Series B funding. Though this is also the definition, how much money you need and what you would like to do with it, and so on. We will do a dive into that as well. And after perhaps assessing where you are sitting with your business, because this depends on the context, on the products and the services you have, it's always go back to the lean canvas, go back to the template and ask yourself, and this is a very important question, is it really an investor I'm looking for, or does a bank loan also works for me? Because this is at the moment a movement, what I experienced in Switzerland, that we have kind of small banks or kind of funds or who are really interested in investing in female-owned businesses, like the microfinancing, because they are aware it's not about the millions or billions of dollars or Swiss francs to receive. It's really about perhaps 20, 30, 40, 50K in order to help to grow, in order to develop a marketing strategy and so on. And it's not feasible to have this at hand at the moment, and we just need this perhaps also to bridge something in order to advance and to grow. So this is a really important question for you beforehand. Could it be a loan, or is it really an investment you need? So you would like to have investors on board, you would like to have people who give you money. And the one thing which is important, because with the bank loan, you don't have to give away your equity, you don't have to give away shares. And since we are in this We Connect environment, so think about, so you still need the 51% that you have to be classified as a female-owned businesses from the We Connect approach. So investors, they always would like to have shares in exchange for the money they give. And yeah, perhaps it can be more difficult compared to a bank loan, which you receive and then you make a plan and then you pay back the loan, including the interests. Let's have a look at all these different stages. I would like to dive into the 4 stages, and then after that I'm happy to take your questions if you are interested. So preceding funding. In January, I would say preceding is everything which is like you have an idea about the product and the services, you have ideas about the customers and so on. And we call it in general like the market testing. So is there a market, what you would like to sell? And if you see on this little picture here, so like potential investors who are investing into that, it's you. It's me, how do you call this? It's me, myself, and I. So these are the owners. This is you as a founder, as a startup owner who are investing into that because you would like to bring it on the ground. And we always say the 3 Fs, like the friends and family and fools. So all the people who are very positively around you and would like to support you. This is how we call the pre-seed funding. It is really the first stage. Here in that case, we have like the 50K, like the approximately fundraising. This differs. I think this is can be just a number. It can be more or less. So this is nothing you should really be the pre-seed funding is like this. No, it's not always like this. I also know companies I just invested in, and they started 3 years ago, and then they had like together like 4 female founders. They had like 100K together, and then they started, and then after the second year, then they reached out in order to get funds, to get a funding from the investors. Then the second stage, we call it seed funding. Really, so everything's more or less ready. You define that there's the market, there are customers, there are people who will buy that, and then you have to get ready with the product and launch it. And in that case, this could be, and this is what I'm doing also in my business life. This is how we call it the business angels or the angels investors. Still, friends and family can help, the micro VCs, venture capitalists, or also the crowdfunding platform. This is how you could receive money. And here at that point, you don't have to give shares away. And I think this is important. So when we talk about perhaps crowdfundings, let's start with the last term. It's very popular in Switzerland and in Germany, and with the startup I just mentioned, so they did a crowdfunding for 70K in order to launch a market strategy, and it was well planned, well defined. On the platform, they were really forced to put everything into the little boxes, like, so, okay, what is the business model? How about the customers? How would you like to reach your goals, and so on. This was really well organized, and they needed like 2 weeks in order to receive 70K, which was a big success. Lots of social marketing, and after that they launched a big party in order to celebrate that. This seed funding launched the product really to get started, to get ready with everything. As an angel investor in that case, I already received shares in that case, and we had a venture. I would say I can tell you it's a venture. It's a very interesting business model, because the first time ever in Switzerland, it's a combined co-working space with a kids space, so you can work as a parent at the same time you can drop off your kids, and it's look after your kids. And you say in general, for the first round or for the seed funding, you give away 10 to 15 or perhaps 10 to 12% of your shares. So you give this away in exchange with an investment, with funding. It's very important to understand. And still here you can say, perhaps I do a combination, perhaps only 5% I give away and the rest I try to organize with a bank loan. The third stage is how we call it the Series A. This is really like really scaling up. Now we are successful in the market. The business model is robust. It's really working, and we have to develop further. We have to invest more in the marketing, in the product of the services. Perhaps we have a broader product portfolio and so on. That's why we need people, we need more resources, we need more marketing and so on. Here it's written potential investors, like kind of the accelerators. At that stage, and also in Switzerland and Germany, very popular, we have this startup accelerators. It's kind of a program where you can apply for. You have to be in that stage, you had to be like, you have a robust business model, you have a product, you have a services, you have kind of perhaps 500,000 turnover already. And from there, they help you depends how long the program is, but on average between 6 and 8 weeks, they help you to accelerate the whole process. And here's the wording super angel investor, I really like that. Super angel investor means like kind of a business angel, or at the seeding funding, it's really an investor who can help you with knowledge, with money and more. I think this is important. I'm a super angel investor in another venture. I invested 3 years ago, and where I really helped like with the kind of the marketing, with the documentation, with the flyers, really how to create that. And I had also opened the doors to potential clients. Yes, and then after that, Series A, we have for sure the Series B, scaling up. Really, in our case, when I'm talking about Europe, it's often about how to expand the market, how to I would say how to spread the words on the other side of the frontier, going to other countries. We have here other languages, so we need money to do lots of translation. We have different cultures, so we have to adapt. So that's why we quite often start in Switzerland, because it's a small market. We are speaking 3 to 4 languages here. We can test everything, and from here we can then spread the word and scale up to Germany, to Austria, which is also German speaking. And from there, normally you go to the UK, and then you test the English speaking market. And then hopefully you can go to the US, to the bigger ones. And you see here on the fundraising, the amounts are much bigger. The valuation is also important. We have always different valuations of your venture, of your business. There are models how you can evaluate how much worth your business is, and so on. I have the impression, the audience I have here, and also what I experience, that we are talking more about like the preceding or the seed funding, perhaps Series A. This is where like the female-owned businesses would like to grow. I'm happy to help for questions or to give the answer to questions if there's anything which is not clear in terms of yeah, how do we describe all these different stages, and also about your why. I think it's very important, because if you really start the journey to do the next step in order to get an investment, you have to be very clear about your why, instead of having a bank loan, which is sometimes much easier to receive.
So if anyone has questions, please feel free to put them in the questions or chat box, and I will read them out as all participants are muted. But Kathrin, I'm curious to know, are there any positives or negatives in skipping the pre-seed funding and just going straight for seed funding? Are there advantages or disadvantages of following that order or skipping that order?
Oh, no, it's just kind of an assessment where you are sitting. You can also say, oh, at the moment I feel more, I'm sitting in the seed funding phase, and then you would perhaps do a crowdfunding, or you are looking for kind of a investor group who is investing in micro ventures. So this is not that you have to go through it, you just have to assess yourself where you are, and that different processes would apply.
Okay, thank you.
Did this give an answer to your question? It's just really like the A to Z, but you always can start in the middle, you know, because you are quite experienced with your business and with your venture. And even sometimes perhaps you go back, huh? Perhaps you are in the Series A and then you think, oh, I have a completely new product, I will change my business model, and then you go back to the pre-seed funding, and then you have to redo everything. Because you are changing perhaps the business, and you're changing the business model.
That makes
Good.
sense. Yeah. Self-awareness and flexibility.
Yeah, there are no questions. What I see.
So far, no questions in the questions or chat box, but if you want to proceed, I can always let you know if any.
So I can proceed. This is good. So I think this is important, like the first step. Again, I repeat myself, these are the different stages, so make sure where you are sitting and what you are looking for. Then for the next step number 2. So after deciding, okay, yes, I need an investor, it's more like in this range, I need perhaps like 100K or 200K and so on. Really based on my experience, how I've seen the past couple of years, it's always like people approaching me and oh, Kathrin, can you help me? And then I said, okay, yes, but what are you doing? So what are you looking for? And based on the lean canvas we had in the introduction, based on that, I'm often happy to receive, and this is also what I see, what the Accelerator programs or different business angel clubs are really requesting, is the fact sheet. That this is the quick reference, a fact sheet where it's just everything is going together. So what's the name of the company, what are you doing, and so on, what is the business model. Let's have a quick look, and I can also share this fact sheet with you. This is like a classy average fact sheet where we have all the general information, the product description or the service description. Very important for the fact sheet competitors, because based on that, people decide whether to invest or not. Then management team, as I said, for me, the most important thing I have to say. So who's on the management team? So who are the people behind? So what is the history of them? What is in general the story? Where do they come from? With the core skills, with the competencies, experiences. It's very interesting. Are they all coming from the same area, or it's diverse or not? So yeah, it's quite interesting if you see that, and all the key figures and so on. And here on point number 2, it's really important to understand, so what is the total capital required? So what are you looking for, and what are you going to do with the money you will receive? So what is your plan? I think this is very important to see here. This is the company fact sheet. So this you can fill out and then you can complete, and then if you would like to approach people, you can send this easily and people will read, because every time rewriting an email is not very efficient. So I highly recommend really to start with the fact sheets, and then you also will see where you have gaps. Then we are often talk about the famous pitch deck. So what is a pitch deck compared to investor deck? So pitch deck is really I would say in 99.9% I see this is a PowerPoint presentation, which you have always with you on your laptop. And you see people, you meet potential investors, you are in front of a small group and you have to pitch. You have like 3 or 5 minutes to pitch. And you would like to get your message across. This is very important. I've seen every kind of different pitch decks. I give you an idea about the agenda of a pitch deck. This is really the best of the best of what I've seen. If you are able to describe the problem, if you can really show in a succinct way the solution, then the team members, the business model again, so how do we earn money, customer sales, perhaps the first figures you're planning to have, competitors, very important, because this shows that you did the market research around your products and your services. And then one slide about the financials. So how about your cost structure? How about your revenue structure, and perhaps kind of a roadmap what your plan for the next 12 months, which is what is very important. This is what you see on the right hand side, is always think about when you prepare your pitch deck. So who is the audience? It's different if it's just for the public, or you're pitching in front of your family, or is it a potential investor? So it's important to find out where they look. So I look to members, I'm looking to the financial, and I'm looking to the business model. Someone else is more looking to really, is this really a problem, or do I share this is a problem, so do I really understand the solution? So this is different, but I think in general we have these 3 points. And I wrote 8 to 10 slides. This is really max, because if you have 5 minutes or 10 minutes, you can't have too many slides. And if possible, no animations, because this is what I've seen, that people really don't like it. If it's too, it is too kind of sexy, or it's just kind of like flying things around and so on. But this is your personal style. So perhaps I'm talking more for Germany and for Switzerland here. So this is more or less a pitch deck or pitching deck. So have this ready as well, because this is a very important element. And this is often perhaps what you don't send, but you need it in order to present. So you and the person, or you in an online meeting, that you will present this. So have this ready, and I have the impression everyone is always working on this one here. Let's go back. What do we have else? So we have the fact sheet, we have the pitch deck. Then we have the investor deck. This is really a broader documentation of the pitch deck. So you can take the pitch deck as a basis or a foundation, and amend it, flesh it out with more information. You have links here how this could look like. There are examples, very nice examples, even from Facebook and from different social medias, and also which is also common in the US. And then also what is important, the evaluation. So I put a link from PwC. They have a really nice they created a very nice website. So how to evaluate your company, because this is an important element. So if you would like to look for investment or funding, then you need evaluation of your company, and based on that, because there could be like lots of models behind, and based on that, you will share like the terms, so how much you would like to give away and what the share is, what the worth of the share is. So that's why it's an important element. Sometimes investors are requiring or requesting a defined structure, how they would like to have an investor deck. So ask them. If you don't have guidelines, then you can have a look how you could do that. Then apart from this, there's lots of work, I can tell you already, to do this. What I experienced the past 2 years is the financials, so financial statements that like 1 or 2 slides not enough. And I know investors, they only would like to see the financials. It's really very detailed. It goes very deeply. It really depends also on the industry, on the branches you are in, and it depends if you stay national or international and so on. And this is something people just tell me, you just send me this and then I have a closer look, and then based on this I decide whether I go the next step or not. So flesh this out already, what you have developed in your pitch deck and in your investor deck, and then you can define, at least you need it, because if you start talking to investors, if you start explaining your numbers, and you need something like this. And I have here an example how you could do this. It's very down to earth. You have on the left hand side here, we have a coffee shop. This is something which I found. And you have the revenue structure and you have the expenses, and just nail it down on a monthly basis. I think this is important. This is what how people would like to see it, because it doesn't make sense to provide a projection for the next 5 years, because everything can change. Everything which is like for 12 or 18 months is good, but I also experienced that after 6 months everything will change. So we have to make sure that the numbers are not lying, which is sometimes difficult, because it really depends on the context, as sometimes it depends on the political system you have around it, depends on the new laws which are coming up and so on. So, but do this kind of exercise, and perhaps also see it as an exercise that you are aware what's going on. And perhaps after that you decide, okay, I don't need an investment, I don't need a business angel, perhaps I really can do it alone, or I just need a bank loan. I think this is a very important question at that stage here. Good. These are really in a nutshell the 4 kind of types of document types with different examples. Just for you, I just had for my last startup, we had everything except the fact sheet. So this was more or less a learning for me. And then I have another startup at the moment. I'm kind of doing a due diligence, and there we have really everything. So I received a fact sheet, and there I could see, oh, this is really interesting. Oh, I like it. I like it. And then I was really meeting the people, and then I received the pitch deck and I saw them pitching, which is also nice to see them in action and how they behave and how they treat other people and potential clients. And now I hope to receive soon the investor deck with all these important elements in order to take a decision. Are there any questions or notes on that? Because I'm always curious, so what are you looking for? So why are you in this webinar? Because this is always also interesting for me, how we could apply this, because I have more this European a few things. But I wait, I'm looking to the chat or to the question box.
I don't see any questions yet, but as a reminder, everyone can participate by submitting into the questions in the chat box. But I am curious, Kathrin, when filling out that fact sheet, as a woman owner, what members of your team or what other people should be involved in the development of this? You know, whose input do you think is important to have when completing this fact sheet?
I think in general, it's the founders or the team. But I think it's
Okay.
really the main person who's thinking, so I would like to need an investor, I need someone, so then just fill it out. And I think normally it's always like this. So if people are requesting a fact sheet like this, then they're coming up to you, you as a founder, you as the person, perhaps who is behind, or perhaps if you have a CFO, also good, then perhaps this person. But I think it's important that the management team has a common sense on this. At that stage, I don't think that there are big teams. At this stage, what I've seen, like 4 to 6 people sometimes, depends how big the company is, and really they are working on this and they try to complete that. Yeah, but this is again a structure which helps you to really narrow it down and to stay focused what you are talking about. Because I have to say there's so many nice business models around, so many products and services, and sometimes I don't understand them because I'm not used to them. I don't use them. I don't know if they are existing, and then kind of a fact sheet or pitching that makes it easier for me to understand. And even if it's a technical solution, really help. We have lots of apps, you know, where you can see. There are often less tangible elements. So if it's a technical or like a tech solution, then it really helps to dive into that. Good. Again, we have, and we will share. So I will send the examples and everything to our host, and then she will share it with you because she knows who's attending. Just that you know. I think you can benefit from this one. Good. So let's move on to the step number 3. So we are coming from here. So why are you looking for an investor? Then we have here the elements of an investor package, which is crucial and important with all the templates and why you should have this. And then after that, you have to go out and to talk to people and to reach out and in order to present and hopefully close the funding. So I've created kind of this ecosystem what we are experiencing here in Europe. So I can only talk for Europe, but I think it's more or less the same. So when you are coming from on the left-hand side, it should illustrate a little bit all these elements you have. You have a fact sheet and the pitching deck, investor deck, and so on. And you would like to find them. So we have like 4 main elements, and I would start with the which you see at the bottom is a direct contact. So we have Crunchbase, and this is international. This is also working for the US. If you need this, go to Crunchbase. It's partly free. The other part is not free, depending what you are looking for. Go there and really search different industry, and then it gives you names of potential investors who are interested in investing in this product, services, or in the industry. This is really a nice desk work you can do. Here in Switzerland, Europe, we really, I would say perhaps 50% of the people are doing that. We are more into these business angel clubs, which is really interesting because this is kind of a club, kind of an association. And instead of doing sports or drinking whiskeys or smoking cigarettes together, they are together, and they would like to find the best business case for them. And on a regular basis, they are pitching events. So we have a business angel club here in Zurich. We have a star angel club, which is European wide. We have another club, and it depends on the industry. We have a fintech business club, a medtech, a edtech, or smart city, and so on. There are lots of clubs, lots of associations, which are really nice, which are growing. What we don't have at the moment, we don't have a club only focusing on female entrepreneurs, because perhaps I think we should do this in the future. And they have websites, and there they indicate when they have the next pitching event. So you can sign up there. This is also kind of a test phase for you. So if they're accepting your fact sheet, if they're accepting your pitching or investor deck, and then from there you show up and you pitch, and then you receive lots of feedback, which is valuable, I think, which is important, that you really go out, you go on stage, and you talk about your idea. These are the business angel clubs, with a very, very important for us here in Europe. Then we have all the other pitching events, which I would say the past 4 years, we have so many pitching events. So everyone is pitching at universities and other clubs, in business clubs, and wherever you have the opportunity. Lots of companies, also the banks, because we have a movement here that the bank not only gives the loan, but also has kind of a department or a team who's looking for investments for ventures, and then they give you the money, and then they receive the shares for that. So this is really nothing to do with the loan, it's just another business, but they are also going into this one in Europe, for I think mainly in Switzerland. So there are lots of pitching events where you can go, where you just sign up and you receive feedback for that. I think this is very important. But you see, you have to make a plan, because you can't clone yourself. So really do the desk research. Where are the next pitching events? We had this, I think, at the WeConnect conference. We had this last year in Europe, so in London, when we had our WeConnect European conference. So there was kind of a pitching hour where up to 6 female-owned businesses could pitch and could introduce their products and services. And after that, there was kind of a feedback round, and also there were also sitting potential investors in the audience. And then we have how we call it the accelerators, the Kickstarters, the startup accelerators. These are the programs that I mentioned before. These programs are, I think there are two types of programs. One is really for the pre-seeding or the seeding round. So if everything is about, so okay, I developed my idea, I have a vague idea. We have here in Switzerland called a startup weekend, where during 2 days people are coming together, they pitch their like kind of vague idea, and then out of that there will be a team of 4 to 6 people, and then they really work on the idea. They complete the lean canvas, they are talking about financial, they are talking about the market, they do a little bit of research, and then the end product of that accelerator during 2 days is really a business model and a clear idea what could be the product or the service. And then we have the other sort, or the other type of Kickstart and startup accelerators, where there's a robust business model, you're earning money, there's a turnover, and you really would like to grow. You would like to go international. You would like to broaden your portfolio, and these are orchestrated or curated programs between 4 to 8 weeks in a row, where you're working day and night in order to develop. There's just one big accelerator program in Germany. They call it GRACE, the GRACE Accelerator, which is funded by another big company. What's the name at the moment? I forgot the name. And this is only for female entrepreneurs, which is also nice, but because I think could be sometimes good just to be together between female entrepreneurs, and then depending on the industry, you can also go to another accelerator, to another startup accelerator or kickstart accelerator in order to get to know this. At the moment, we have here in Switzerland an accelerator program started last week. I'm also part of, because I'm a coach there. So I help them to review the business model. We have design thinking sessions, so where we try to ask all the very intelligent questions in order to advance them, to move them forward, and to help them really to spread the word. And as I said in the beginning, Switzerland acts like a test market or like a test bed. So where we have international startups also coming from the US and from South America and even Canada, and they would like to test their product and services here in Switzerland, because we are speaking up to 4 languages. And this is a small market here, so you can try it out, and from there you gain hopefully insights and can then spread the word. So these are the four elements or 4 spots where you can have a look. I think the low-brainer is really to go to Crunchbase or to your local club, or to see if there's a network around you supporting female entrepreneurs, and from there you can start your journey. And I think it's also important really to be on stage, to make yourself visible and to talk about your idea. Are there any notes on that, or questions in general, talking about the pitching agenda? So are the opportunities where you could pitch? Or perhaps you just tell me where you could do this in the US. It's also interesting. I don't know, Rachel, if you have experience where to do this in terms of I know that WeConnect is also offering programs, right, in the US and also in Europe as well.
Actually, no, we have a US partner. There's an organization called the Women's Enterprise National Council, and that's a US sister organization. There's organization, different staff, but a lot of members we work with are the same. And women business owners who are headquartered in the US and are certified by WeBank, they do provide opportunities for women business owners to practice their pitches. And they actually have a pitch competition in which Pepsi provides a prize, a cash prize for the owner who does the best pitch. So they have a competition during their annual conference in June. And I think this past year in June, the woman business owner who won the pitch competition and won the money from Pepsi have their own, we call it frozen yogurt, like an ice cream and frozen company, Susie's Swirl, and they won the competition. But in terms of WeConnect International, we do offer a lot of training programs which have a pitch competition component to it, or a pitch practice session. And in those practices, we often invite current corporate members to participate and to provide feedback, because even though this might not necessarily be the opportunity to gain business, it's a great chance for the women business owners in the WeConnect network to get that direct feedback from companies that in the future might want to buy from them.
Yeah. Thank you very much for this additional input to that, because I think all the investment area is very national. And I also know investors who are just focusing on one country, or perhaps on Europe or on the US, because normally you go where you understand the market. That's why you could provide like general information, so what you would need in order to complete and to create, to start your search and to go to this pitching arena. However, I think they're quite local and national and cultural elements you have to consider to do so. It's interesting. But I think the work, kind of completing the lean canvas to think about the fact sheet and the pitching deck, this is kind of a thing you could do anyway, because it's always interesting to pitch and to talk about your business and your venture. Good. From my end, this was the introduction or the overview with the 3 elements. I will send the content and with the different examples to the lady who's behind, and she will share with you. And there you have my contact details. If there's anything I can help with, you let me know. Thank you very much for your attendance. I don't see you. I can't hear you, but it was a pleasure to share the insights with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Kathrin. I appreciate your time and your expertise, and we will share the resources that you have provided as well as the recording to those who have participated and those who have interest. So thank you again for your time. I greatly appreciate it. And I hope you all have a great rest of your day and week. And thank you once again, Kathrin.
Thank you. Perfect. Thank you. Have a nice day. Thank you. Bye-bye.